the major question we are seeing almost every year in one form or the other, the question from e-governance.
Final results of CSC 2025 as well as 2026 will be decided in the next few months.
Environment, they've asked questions on political empowerment of women last year.
How they are expected to be facilitators rather than regulators.
So what do you understand by sustainable development? What have been the initiative? What is participatory development? What is inclusive development?
Those notes will really come in handy in this mains or the next one, whichever you are giving.
Keep updating your notes, keep revising your notes, whatever you're learning from discussions, whatever you're learning from, let's say, model solutions. Yes, so do not go for any status quo. That is, some reinvigoration in your preparation is always welcome. Governance is a bridge between state intentions and citizen experience. Or you can simply say that it bridges people and policies.
Having your definition prepared already, and not just your definition, either the definition should be belonging to a credible source, or at least the definition should be comprehensive in nature.
Governance in GS2 is a low-hanging fruit which people forget to chew.
Correct. Hello everyone. Welcome to another video of GS Blueprint for Mains. I am Nitin and with me is Kanishk sir.
Hello everyone.
So the results of UPSC Prelims 2025 are out, and as expected, the results have been good for us. Students from both FRC as well as SFG have come to us, and it feels good as a mentor and faculty to see the hard work paying off. And we've seen it closely this time through FRC, how much hard work students have put in. More or less, if you have qualified, good for you, utilize this opportunity.
But at the same time, there are students who could not qualify. We know some of these students who are well deserving. So do not be disheartened. The war is not yet lost. I would recommend that utilize this opportunity the next 3-4 months for plugging the loopholes of your main preparation, which is ultimately going to help you in your next prelims and main cycle.
Now, whether you're clearing the prelims or not, see, this is the time where you show your real character, your grit and your hard work. See, the results or the final results of CSC 2025 as well as 2026 will be decided in the next few months, and utilize this opportunity really well to, like sir said, plug in the loopholes as well as go through the syllabus thoroughly, make your notes on all the topics on which UPSC can ask a question on. And to navigate that same syllabus of UPSC, we have come up with GS Blueprint.
Now, talking about GS Blueprint, this is the second video of the series. First, we have dealt with the polity area. Now we are talking about the governance angle. Talking about governance, we know that governance is a bridge between state intentions and citizen experience. Or you can simply say that it bridges people and policies. Now, talking about experience, I would say from my experience that governance in GS2 is a low-hanging fruit which people forget to chew.
Correct.
So that is a problematic area where your marks dip is maybe because of governance area. Now, how do we recover that? Where do we study it from? The biggest source I can recommend, which will be covering your static and the dynamic area, would be the Mastering Indian Governance by ForumIAS. So try to make or fetch whatever fodder material you can, put it in your notes, and that can be utilized. Let's have a look at the GS Blueprint for governance. The first slide itself talks about the topics we'll be covering in this particular video. There are 4 topics, topic 10, 11, 15 and 16. Interestingly, now 12, 13, 14 topic have been skipped. Reason being, those are the areas of social justice which have a huge overlap, and we'll be covering them with the GS1 society area. Right? Let's have a look at the first topic itself, topic 10. Now in topic 10, the highlight is the first 2 words, that is the government policy. That is, what is public policy? Have your definitions prepared for such questions, that there can be a simple question, what is public policy? And it should not be your own definition, it should be from a authoritative body or some international governance body, let's say UNDP or World Bank. All that would make sense. Then you should also prepare within this the components of good public policy. Is it dynamic, flexible, guideline, or based on evidence, etc. should be prepared. Now, there is also one more dimension, that is the types. Is it based on sectors? It is based on target populations. All that should be also looked upon. Talking about public policy, now there are various steps. The first step is, sir?
All right, like sir said, don't just have your introductions ready, have it revised also in your note, from your note, so that when the question comes, you are ready with the introduction. You are not
Yes.
wasting time in writing the introduction. Now coming to the policy design and formulation part, see in this, when we talk about the policy design part, it starts from the stage of ideation, which is the policy identification of what are the areas on which the policy is to be made. And then comes the stakeholder consultation, whether it is the civil society, whether it is the beneficiary of the policy, whether it is the implementing agency. These are the stakeholders which are involved. Then you have the policy objectives. What are the objectives of the policy? Whether what you are doing has to be achieved through various stakeholders or not, right? And then you have the feasibility assessment of the policy, right? Coming to the next part, sir.
Within policy design formulation, we can also prepare the issues and challenges. That is the design a problematic area? Is it a top-down design?
Yes.
Is it based again on some evidences? Is it breaking the continuity? All these should also be looked upon. Talking about policy implementation, sir.
Now see, in implementation, we have to figure out whether the implementation part is in consonance with the idea of good governance or not, right? So a question can come, in what ways a policy can be formulated so it is in consonance with the idea of good governance. Then you have in the implementation part, what is the role of the central government, what is the role of the state government. Then you should know the difference between a central sector scheme versus a centrally sponsored scheme. Then you should know what is the role of various ministries, various bodies like Niti Aayog, NGOs, civil society in the implementation part of the
Over here also in implementation, you would have again stakeholders would differ, but also the issues and challenges would also be different.
Yes.
Now here issues and challenges would be the implementation issues. Like, are you having enough funds and resources? Is there a fund delay by releasing from the ministry? Or are we making that implementation based on data? Is it based on consumer consultation, public consultation? Yes, all these factors come into play. You can put in our certain examples also, that let's say Gati Shakti, was it based on evidential value or not? Let's say why there have been loopholes or delays in achieving the smart city mission, because it was not based on let's say the baseline data was problematic. So all these should also be looked upon. Talking about the third dimension, that is the monitoring, evaluation and feedback. So this is where your design, implementation, and where the first two are evaluated, that what have been the issues, what have been the problematic area. Now the biggest area is that we should be focusing on outcome more than the output. This is one particular terminology you can utilize for any policy or scheme. That is it just the output we are focusing on, just the numbers, or the real outcome, the substantive value of it. Within this, we have various tools associated. Public finance management system, MIS reports can be there, then social audit, third party evaluation. All these are, or let's say dashboard portals are there for, let's say, aspirational district program. So there are various examples, various tools of evaluating and providing a feedback, so that the next time we see an upgrade of policy, those are integrated, right? Now with this, we also have the stakeholders. As I said, as sir also mentioned, the stakeholders would be different for all the approaches, and of course there are different sectors also.
Now see, in sectors, normally a question which UPSC will be asking will be either based on directly a scheme which has been launched by the government. Now that can be from any sector. So some sectors which we want you to cover is, let's say, health, let's say education,
Basic themes outlined in the syllabus.
skill, right? Then you have infrastructure, social issues like women empowerment. What are the schemes, etc. in those sector. See, some schemes which are very much in news, sir, is, let's say, in education we have the National Education Policy.
Yes.
In skill we have the Skill India Mission. Then you have in poverty alleviation we have, and financial inclusion we have Jan Dhan scheme which can be asked. Manrega is always a good question, evergreen, right? And UPSC can be asking a question anytime. Then you have the Awas Yojana, the Swanidhi Yojana, the Swamitva Yojana. These are very much in news, and it's always good to know about these schemes thoroughly.
ADP and now the block
Yes.
program also.
Yes.
All these are very important schemes, and you should have your notes prepared, short notes
Yes.
prepared for each scheme. Largely, okay, public policy and planning, implementation, all these are different, but there can be a standalone question on one particular scheme.
And sir, one phenomena which we saw is that we might feel that a particular policy is of economy, might be asked in GS3, but
Exactly.
as we've seen in
They-
2022, they asked Gati Sakti Yojana,
Yes.
right, which was expected in
Economy
GS3,
question.
but it was asked in GS2,
Yes.
right? So don't make a distinction. Have your notes prepared on all the aspects of governance as well as the implementation part.
All right, that was broadly about topic 10. Let's have a look at the PYQs from topic 10. Now, as sir just mentioned, we asked a question in MGP related to PM Gati Shakti Yojana. We asked about salient features and what are the issues associated, because it was launched back then, September 2022 itself. So it became a probable question, and that is what UPSC also did. In the same year, it also asked the same question, Gati Shakti Yojana, and various dimensions associated with that. So the theme has to be evaluated, that are we making question on the right theme.
So like
this
sir
is-
said, it will be a low hanging fruit for you if
Exactly.
you are aware of what to read.
if you look at the recent schemes or major scheme which have been launched, so it is expected that you prepare those notes,
There
right?
was
All the dimensions
a
of
question on earn while you learn.
it. Exactly.
scheme. So
There can be some unexpected bouncers also.
hmm.
Talking about topic 11. Now the first topic is developmental process. Before coming to development process, you should be aware of what is development. A simple definition of development should be there. Beyond that, there are various dimensions of development. UPSC has also delved into those dimensions. Let's say as simple as political dimension, economic dimension, social dimension. In, of course, economic dimension, it can be about poverty in society. Social dimension, it can be about, let's say, education, as sir also mentioned, health, gender equality, all these have to be covered. But there are also more probable questions or more hard-hitting topics with it, beyond these three, which is, let's say, human development. They've asked a question on human development already. As also mentioned in that social justice part, human resources. Beyond that can be the standalone question that what do you understand by sustainable development, what have been the initiative, what is participatory development, what is inclusive development. Though part of your inclusive growth in economy, again, be open to receiving questions from any part of the syllabus.
And nowadays, technology-driven development
Of
is also
course,
very
yes.
much in news, right? And beyond this, sir, we need to also look into the challenges aspect of the development process, right? So challenges and issues is always something you have to be prepared on. So challenges of this could be whether poverty or illiteracy is a challenge, the access to healthcare is a challenge, digital divide is a challenge, illiteracy, like I mentioned, and then you have climate change can be a challenge. So these are the various dimensions that you have to be aware of in the challenges to development process.
Talking about development industry, UPSC has broken down the development industry largely for you. What is the role of NGO, SHG, etc.? Let's have a look at these dimensions one by one. First of all, NGO, which is, let's say, a broad topic which also covers the CSOs. Yes, so you'll have quite similar dimensions to be covered, that what is an NGO, what is the role of NGO, what are the characteristics of NGO, it is adaptive, it is flexible, etc., etc. You should be prepared on. Then beyond that, you should also be looking at not just general role, but specific role in various dimensions. Again, UPSC has tried to link it here. For example, they've asked questions on environment, they've asked questions on political empowerment of women last year. Yes, last year or last year, cross-check this. So this importance of role becomes quite crucial. So you have to not just talk about 4-5 rules, but at times think that what can be the probable question, what are NGOs actually doing. One more problematic area for NGO can be the regulatory norms, that what is the regulatory framework, do we need to redo this, do we need some certain reforms. Now beyond that, of course, are the issues and challenges associated, broader challenges. Do prepare about FCRA when we are talking about regulatory measures. Do talk about reforms, best practices, and also the government issues associated. One conclusion or one way of looking at suggesting reforms would be
Way forward.
Way forward can be the Vijay Kumar committee recommendations or the Niti Aayog regulation of NGOs report, right?
All right. Now, beyond NGOs, as mentioned in the syllabus itself, SHG is another important aspect of the development industry. In this, like in the case of NGO, you should be having your definition prepared already, and not just your definition. Either the definition should be belonging to a credible source, or at least the definition should be comprehensive in nature. Now, beyond that, we have what is the role played by SHG. A very favorite question of UPSC, because they'll not just ask a broader question on the role, but they'll ask specific questions on what has been the role of SHGs in financial inclusion, what has been the role in women empowerment, in rural development, in let's say overall grassroots democracy, what has been the role. These are the specific questions which UPSC can ask on roles. Beyond that, what are the challenges faced by SHGs? 2013 major question came on the challenges faced by SHGs, and don't have generic points prepared. Now that you have time to prepare thoroughly, have very good points, logical points which make you stand out of the crowd. That go for those. Then you
Within
have
SHG, we are also expecting a question this year, because it has been a while they haven't asked
yes.
a particular question on SHG.
So we were talking about this earlier, that SHG has been a lost topic for a long time, and that is why in in our AWFG also, I shouldn't be saying this, but we are focusing on SHG because we are expecting a question this time, right?
Now, next is the various groups and association.
Yeah.
Now, within this, you can cover the cooperatives. That again, we are celebrating the, let's say, the International Year for Cooperatives in United Nation, according to United Nation. So cooperatives is another dimension. Then there can be trade unions, there can be professional unions, there can be religion-based or faith-based groups, etc. So ultimately, largely would be quite similar, because it is a part of the voluntary sector. There can be an overall question regarding the development industry, which will, again, you'll have to fetch points from here and there. Right, so all this makes sense. Beyond this is, of course, sir, donors and charities.
Yes, charities is another aspect. Not a lot of questions come from this aspect, but it's always good to prepare. So suppose in this we have CSR, right? We have domestic donor agencies, we have international donor agencies. These need to be prepared. We had PM CARES fund a few years earlier. That was a very hot topic. Then we have what is the public-private partnership required? What is the government NGO or government civil society equation? What are the challenges in those? So these are the various aspects you need to.
I think they have also asked one of the questions regarding donor agencies in, I
Yes.
think, 22 or 23.
Yes.
So it is again,
Yes.
it is one of the lost topics in topic 11, but do prepare for it separately. Right? Now talking about the PYQs from topic 11, sir.
All right. So microfinance, this is about the SHGs. They talked about the evaluating the role of SHGs in the twin objective of both empowerment of women in rural India, right? And we incorporated the same idea in our AWFG, because we take PYQs very seriously. We don't copy the questions, but we take it into consideration. And what is something fascinating is that the next slide, UPSC again focused on the idea of SHGs.
Next year itself.
Yes. That year itself, AWFG 2021.
Yeah,
and
in
that
our
year
question
itself,
same year,
yes.
but it repeated the question the
Yes,
next year.
Yes.
So again, there are questions which are repeated. Do not try to find a trend in UPSC. Be prepared for largely all the topics. You cannot just play around with 10 marks. It can maybe decide your rank where you'll end up.
Correct.
Right. Now talking about topic 15, that is the first topic itself is governance. Now, broader topic, broader preparation would be required. Let's say within this, there are of course micro topics that can be prepared, that what is governance, what is the scope of governance, what is the evolving role of governance. All this have to be prepared. Beyond that, we can have also prepared the models of governance. Then there can be different types of, let's say, social model of governance, right-based model of governance. Then how, as the topic itself suggests, that how is governance laying the part or the foundation for democracy. Now the government is also focusing on minimum government, maximum governance. So all this has to be incorporated in governance.
Now, see, both these topics are also there in GS4, sir. Right? So if you're preparing here, do take into consideration the ethical aspect also, have that vocabulary ready so that you can utilize the same kind of information in both the papers. Now coming to the good governance aspect, here the first thing which I need you to do is have your definition, a crisp, clear definition, preferably from a credible source, ready, so that you don't have to think during the examination. Then what are the dimensions of good governance, right? In dimensions, always make a radial diagram to mention all the dimensions. It's always
keep incorporating diagrams in your notes rather than trying to make it right there.
It's always going to fetch you a couple more extra marks from the competition, right? So these are the various aspects. Then in good governance, we have the what are the initiatives undertaken by the government. Now in initiatives, we have a lot of initiatives are there, like DBT is there, aspirational district program is there. We have, we can take UPI itself as a good governance
can be
initiative.
One probable question.
Then we have the CP grams is a good governance initiative. So multiple are there.
There are multiple things. And of course, whatever the government tries to do is a part of good governance only. They do not follow the bad governance idea.
And then be ready with the issues and challenges, as well as the committees and commissions recommendations regarding
this is crucial. You will have to be prepared with committee recommendation about a lot of things in this particular slide.
And now, in this, sir, lot of people refer to the second ARC. What I want you to do is don't just read the report of second ARC, have points specific to what are the dimensions you are trying to cover.
And maybe what you can do, that ARC has various reports. So have a reference to that particular report. Let's say you are talking about public policy. So it has a chapter called public policy, and go towards the end of the chapter and see a summary. That would suffice. If you can do that and recommend, because that you have to write 3 pages only, right?
So basically,
do not delve into deeper.
Try doing something different from the competition.
Exactly. So keep recommending suggestions from the committees. Now, good governance, of course, you should be incorporating the Kalam's idea. Professor Kalam's idea of smart governance. You should be talking about good governance day. All this has to be incorporated. Talking about the major question, we are seeing almost every year in one form or the other the question from e-governance. Very important topic, and of course the evolving idea today. Everything is being digitalized. We are seeing digital land records. We are seeing digital brand identity program. Everything is happening. We have now the AI also. So you have to incorporate a lot of things in e-governance. Now, what is e-governance? What is the scope of e-governance? Again, but also one important aspect would be the evolution. That how has e-governance panned out in India? What have been the initiatives? What have been the issues and challenges associated? And what reforms are required? Keep giving the examples also. You have to talk about the forthcoming potential. We have to talk about whatever there has been the significance and achievements. Right? The analytical portion.
Another thing which has been given in the syllabus itself is the models. Now, models, we haven't seen questions generally, but have in mind what are the various types of models, whether it is the G2B, the government to business, government to consumers, then government to government, G2G, then you have government to employees, the G2E. These are the 4 models I think you need to prepare thoroughly.
For e-governance specifically. Within e-governance, of course, you should be ready with some case studies also, like Project Bhumi of Karnataka that has been a successful case study. Beyond that, I would recommend, sir, people should now also be prepared for AI and governance linkage. Maybe a topic within the e-governance.
Correct.
Now we have come up with first AI data center for ourselves. Now we are talking about global governance regarding AI. COE has gone for a convention, a framework they have signed. So all these are G7 pact is there regarding AI in governance. So all this again pans out really important.
Another thing which we focus in e-governance in our AWFG, but however, unfortunately, UPSC has not asked so far, is what have been the successful programs under the e-governance initiative, be it the Aadhaar or the UPI or the DBT,
Trinity.
So GEM Trinity, even the grievance redressal portals, right? So these we specifically ask questions. We really believe that UPSC can.
And there are also initiatives which are presently completing 10 years. MyGov.in.
MyGov.
Yes.
Correct.
So where citizen participation is promoted through e-governance.
Pragati initiative
portal,
is there, yes.
So all these are very important. E-Dakhil, etc. You have to prepare. If not specifically prepare, you should be available with examples. What dimensions, role, etc. For each point, one example would suffice. Right? Now, next is the transparency and accountability, sir. If you can erase that.
Right. Now, see, in transparency and accountability, first of all, what you need to know is that what is the need for transparency in good governance. Have your points ready. A specific question might come. Then you have what are the initiatives or measures taken for introducing transparency, and most important of that is the RTI Act. Standalone questions come on the RTI Act, what are the challenges of the RTI Act, what have been the amendments in the RTI Act. So have that prepared. Then you have the accountability parameter. In the accountability parameter, you again need to know what is the need, what is the significance of accountability for good governance, what are the government initiatives undertaken, what are the institutional mechanisms. What are the institutional mechanisms like the Lokpal, the Lok Ayukt, what are the portals, what are the recommendations of various committees regarding introducing accountability?
Ombudsman idea, yes.
Yes.
Within transparency and accountability, you can also include the debate surrounding the privacy versus transparency.
Oh, yes.
Yes, how transparent the government can be, and also the debate versus the national security. Right? Now, beyond transparency and accountability, one is citizen charter, especially mentioned in the syllabus. Now, citizen charter is a very static topic. If you have your definitions, evolution, or principles associated, all this have been made in notes, then you do not have to even revise it. That is so static. You should be rather recommending certain measure that what are the issues and challenges associated. You should utilize certain keyword that it has been frozen for years, no recommendation, no updation has been done. Then in the reforms, do talk about the case studies where they have succeeded or what are the best practices associated. Domestic and of course global. Within reforms, I would also recommend you keep referring to 2011 bill I just mentioned. Yes, so 2011 bill is quite crucial and can be a good part of your suggestions. Right, so that was broadly about the citizen charter. Now topic 15 is broadly done. Let's have a look at the PYQs. Now in AWFG 2024, the last year itself, we talked about, of course, about the citizen charter, one of the favorite topics for UPSC with e-governance. Then same year, the theme was repeated and they also asked about the citizen charter.
Right.
Yes,
this is what you get by sticking to the syllabus. We cannot emphasize this enough. See, everything that we are doing is basically trying to tell you that be guided by the spirit of the syllabus, not the words, but the spirit of the syllabus. What is UPSC's trend has been? What are they trying to tell you also? So, citizen charter, as you can see.
So the syllabus and the PYQs try to penetrate our content, our questions, our model answers, everything, right? Now, next is the role of civil services in a democracy. The first part is, of course, the role of civil services.
Now, see, in the role of civil services, the first thing that you need to know is get done with the introduction part. Here, the best introduction which you can do is mention the constitutional provisions related to civil services. You are done with the introduction part. Then comes another aspect of how the civil services went from a steel frame to agents of change. Agents of change.
Earlier, the question was from steel frame to the chori wala steel frame, right? Now they are being framed, of course, related to it. Now they are the agents of change, as our Prime Minister Modi recently called out.
Standalone question can come on this expectation from the civil services,
Yes.
how they are expected to be facilitators rather than regulators. All right. Now, another question which can come is about, very simple, the core responsibilities of civil services, whether it is the policy implementation or acting as a stability factor during the political change, right? So this also
There have been continuity in the policies.
continuity
or
in
not, etc.
changes, right? And then obviously issues and challenges, evergreen topic which you have to prepare your
Notes on.
points on. Yes.
Within the role, you can also talk about, let's say if you are aware about the structure, what is central services, all India services, prelims related topic though, but you should be aware about it at least. If at all there is a standalone question. Within constitutional provision, there can be a question regarding doctrine of pleasure. When we are talking about Article 310, so there can be a question regarding doctrine of pleasure, or the Article 311 itself, should it be abolished or not, the protection provided to the civil services. So these are broader issues and challenges. Now with issues and challenges, of course, the next topic would be the civil services reform. Now there are various reforms going on presently. A lot has been done in last few years also. The biggest, let's divide them through stages. The biggest change we are witnessing is at the recruitment stage itself. Yes, not regarding changes in your exam, but also with the lateral entry. Yes, now there can be again an argument for and against the lateral entry. You should be prepared. What has happened? I think last year
They've asked the question on this.
they abolished the 45 posts they declared.
And
just
UPSC
because-
has already asked a question on this.
So there have been this particular topic has been in news. Then there can be question regarding the rationalization of services. How many services do we need? They did with the same with the railways. So you should be prepared. Then within this recruitment, you can also talk about various ideas like, are we representing diversity? Are there marginalized sections? And what are the loopholes in? There have been certain issues, you also know that, without naming them, but they can be part of the recruitment process. Whatever loopholes are there, how can they be plugged? Right? Now the second is
the training part.
Training and capacity building.
Training and capacity building. See, the major question in this particular topic was of Mission Karmyogi, and UPSC has already asked a question on Mission Karmyogi. So, and it's outdated, so I don't want you to waste a lot of time in this. But have a general reading. If at all a question comes, you should be able to answer. Then you have in capacity building the national policy on the civil services training. Have your points ready on the salient aspect of the policy as well.
Within training and capacity building, I think, sir, the generalist versus specialist debate is also important.
Yes.
So that comes into play, that should we train generalist? Should we go for specialization? Should we go for special allocation? That is the reason we are going for lateral entry, right?
Yes, lateral entry itself, that debate can come.
Also, beyond that is the appraisal area. That how do you rate the performance? Within appraisal, we have all have heard of key areas like 360-degree performance. And within appraisal, you can talk about, are we witnessing an idea just like judicial activism? Is there a civil service activism also we are witnessing?
There was a debate on reservation in promotion also in this.
Exactly. Then within this, you can also talk about, let's say, meritocracy versus seniority debate. Who must be promoted?
Yes.
When we talk about lateral entry, we always talk about, before introducing lateral entry, we should promote meritocracy within the services. One idea is that there should be focus when we are talking about appraisal, is the service delivery. How can that be improved? What are the reforms required in the appraisal stage? Right, with that, of course, you should be plugging in various committee reports, HOTA committee, Baswan committee. I'm covering all these. HOTA committee, Baswan committee. For example, training, you should be talking about Kiran committee, talking about Labasna reforms, etc. Right? Now, next is the transparency and accountability area. Sir?
Right. So the last aspect of civil services reforms is that of the transparency and accountability. In this, go for institutional mechanisms, go for what are the frameworks which have been taken place, what are the various instruments available. Let's say RTI Act is there, In institutional, you have the vigilance department, CVC is there, CBI is there, right? And then you have citizens charter, as we already discussed, various e-government mechanisms or the CP grams portal in terms of reforms. Then you have the vigilance department. So these are the various things you have to prepare in this.
Within this, sir, I think we should also be suggesting about the Whistleblower Protection Act.
Whistleblower protection.
Yes, so that is also important. That, of course, we know there is an act and there is a dire need for reforms also for protecting the whistleblowers. Beyond that, I think because there is a social media ka prachalan hai, so now we are going for from anonymity towards the people who are going for personal branding. There have been instances where Election Commission has taken action against people, Gujarat election specifically.
Although question has not come yet, but we are expecting
these are
because it's very much in news.
A lot has happened since 1 year, and the people now are becoming less and less active because of the strictness from the
YouTube bureaucrats.
Yes, personal branding is happening, digital integrity, right? So all these are the areas where you should be covering topics for governance. Talking about the PYQs.
All right. So basically, it talked about the
civil services
reforms and what are the
we have reached the potential or there is a reinforcement required.
Yes, and same was asked in AWFG 2021, and similar question got carried on that year about the civil services as in the areas of economic performance.
Yes,
right?
So again, mentioning that there have been a lot of repetitions, these are very static topics, as sir also talked about, that these are low-hanging fruit and you should be chewing it right away. In each paper, there are certain low-hanging fruits. So this should be one in your plate, should be part of your buffet.
Yes.
And beyond that, I would also recommend that people who have not been able to clear prelims, just make sure that you are not relaxed, because the workload, or let's say the time expends according to our workload. Do not think that we should be studying till March and then completing or perfecting our notes. This is the right time you should be competing and go with the main cycle itself.
So I hope the objective of our initiative is clear. See, we might be missing some aspects, but we have tried to be very thorough on what you should know about these topics in the syllabus. If you want, you can pause the video, make a note of all these dimensions, and then start studying. That those notes will really come in handy in this mains or the next one, whichever you are giving. So we really hope that this is helping you out.
Keep updating your notes, keep revising your notes, whatever you're learning from discussions, whatever you're learning from, let's say, model solutions. Yes, so do not go for any status quo. That is, some reinvigoration in your preparation is always welcome. So I think that was it from our side in this video. So that was again GS Blueprint regarding governance. All the very best.
All the best.